Hello, good evening, and welcome to this other episode of our uh, Ad Astra program. And now we are having quite a number of this episode, and I'm quite happy because the people seems to respond quite well to this program. Today, I am very glad that I have my I think yes, first French guest that is Sébastien de Kerrero. Um, I say a few things about Sébastien de Kerrero. He's a French radio journalist and activist for 20 years in the right-wing movement. Father of five, Christian, deep ecology militant, anti-capitalist and anti-Marxist spokeperson. He has been involved in youth and cadre formation for 20 years. He gave many conferences, 100 hours of radio broadcast, and has been involved in many political campaigns. So, thank you, Sebastien, for your participation in my program.
Thank you, Aurelio. Thank you for receiving me, for your invitation. I'm very glad. I'm very honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So today we are speaking about a topic that indeed is very important. That is about the power of media, a power that we have to, to use in a certain way, but also that a power over us, because of course we are under this power. So I want to ask you, according to your opinion, you say we say that you are a right wing activist. So, according to your opinion, the new technologies, okay, so like the social networks, internet, blah blah blah. I mean, how the people that are on the wrong side of history, we may say, how they were helped from these new technologies.
Well, first of all, the situation in France, to understand how it worked here in France, and I suppose in many Western countries, is that right-wing ideas were most of the time and in most of social areas, they were outcasts. They were mostly forbidden to speak. And when they were able to speak, they were intimidated by the left, because as you know, as all our comrades all around the world know, the left dominate the media and academia also, which is, if you want a simple image, we could talk about the media as the new church. I mean, the teachers in the schools, in the high schools, are like, the last priest in the remote countryside, and journalists are somehow kind of what were bishops. You have kind of a hierarchy, and the media take the grasp of the minds of the population. Media has always had the metapolitical function, of course, and our ideas have been outcast by this clergy. So the situation in France is very special in the sense that our media most media belong to a very few groups, industrial groups, who depend on the state commands, especially from military industrial complex. I mean, in France, the main media belong to, for example, a group who sells also what's the weapons? Big weaponry. What's the name?
Missile.
Boats,
Okay.
flights, cannons,
Submarine things.
yes, submarines, this kind of stuff, big stuff. So it's big money, and of course, media cost more than they give you back. So we say in France, it's like a danseuse, like a dancer that you pay, to
amuse you.
To amuse you, exactly. And of course, these people don't spend millions of euros on media for nothing. They expect something in return, and what they expect in return is what the chief of one of our main broadcasting companies, the first channel, TV channel, which is not on the cable, it's main broadcast channel. He said, what we sell is brain. Moments of brain, of disponibility, of availability of brains. That's what we sell. So as long as we understand that, of course, the new media, the internet, the social media have been a great opportunity for our ideas to just to exist, not to conquer a majority in the general population, of course not, but they were a game changer, because for once we were on an equal foot. We could expose our views, and the left could expose their views, and people could challenge
make
our
their
views.
minds.
Yes, and they could choose on a regular basis, and that was, of course, a game changer. And the consequence of that, because this wave of change started around 2010 in France. Really, the big momentum was 2010, and around 2015, the game was over. And now, of course, 5 years later, 6 years later, we are in a big wave of censorship, which is no news for nobody in our current, of course. All of us have been deplatformed in France. And France is in rankings, international ranking for censorship. We are very high. We are we are in Western countries. We are in the top, maybe the 2 or 3 first countries who practice censorship. That's very worrying for us, because this game-changing momentum is now over. So the question that situation poses now to all of us is, what should we do now? And my answer, the answer of many actors of this alternative media has been to go back on the field, to go back organize, to go back produce, propose, but in real life, IRL, as they say on the nets.
But let me ask you. So, can you tell us in more concrete terms what is your personal kind of activity, and what is your kind of reach? So, how many people follow your programs? Can you tell us a little more about
Yes.
what you concretely do in your site?
Well, I work with one of the major influences of the right-wing scene here in France, which is Alain Soral. He's from the left originally, and he has been, mixing right and left-wing themes, and he has been very successful because he could appeal to the new cultural codes of a youth, let's say 10 years, 12 years, 15 years ago. And he created a very big base when he talked about some, health events, recent events. He could make videos who have been seen by 1 million French people.
Wow.
Which is, of course, huge
Yeah, of
audience.
course.
It is not rare that when we make a video, it can be seen 400,000 or 200,000. Commonly, we make per week 50,000 views on a regular on a regular subject, theme, whatever. So it's huge because, as I told you, video also has been a big change. I'm a radio host. I'm a radio journalist, but I know that when you make a content that is the video, like you do yourself, you could have, you can have 10 more times viewers than you could have listeners. So that's also something that as French we manage quite well, because for historical reasons we we are impregnated with a visual culture. Myself, I've been involved in modern media for 20 years because I've always thought that politics, you must walk on 2 foot, as said Alain de Benoit, a big also sword here in France, sword of these dissidents of the alternative media. He used to say politics has to walk on two legs. One is metapolitics, media, culture, and the other one is politics per se. And politics per se here, as we don't have many of us in executive positions or decision-making positions, we make a lot of formation. What I called cadre in French means, officers, if you want. I don't have the plan. People who leaders. We work on our leadership. And for example, 2 years ago, we had a summer university. We were around 450 youth from 16 to 30 who came to take 1 week on their holidays just for pure formation, spiritual implication, political discussions, and also technical progress. I mean, for example, how to deal with the alternative media, how to make a press conference, how to organize an association, how to build a team in a town, for example.
And Sebastian, I want to ask you, because you mentioned Alain Soral. Now that is a name that of course I know, and I want to understand. So he created this platform where also you are working, and an estimate how many people are reached by this, how many people follow this.
Very simple. Each month we have 4 million views.
Wow.
Unique views. We have 4 million unique views on the website.
So it's a lot of people, I have to say. And you say before, I just was thinking when you were talking that you said before about the difficulties, of course, to be heard. And we know also that I always say in my program, also with my other guests, that we have only to compliment the left because of their work with culture. I mean, this is the cultural hegemony, that came from Gramsci, that of course it was a very big asset for them, and still is working very well. And we only not only we have to judge from our own experience in France or in Italy, because it's more or less the same in Italy, but you can see also in the United States. We say the big country that dominate the world politics, and you can see how Hollywood or other they really impose a certain ideology that of course is not only about politics, but it invests also cultural things and the way we have to live the sexuality and many other things. But I was thinking when you were talking that indeed your case it seems a little different. I mean the French case, because we know in these days that one person that seems to come from your field, so Eric Zemmour, that certainly is not a left-wing writer, but he get prominence, and indeed is challenging Marine Le Pen for the presidential election. So it seems what you say is challenged by this. How come something like Eric Zemmour, that is something similar, doing something similar of what you are doing, but he can get that much attention? And also in Italy he is quite known. His books are translated. I read some of his books. I can of course read also in French, but I have also the Italian translation. So how you explain this?
Well, it's at the very heart of our subject. Actually, I mean, it's quite unusual that journalists make politics in France. Of course, you always had some, but it's not very common. Most of them come from the very core of the state. You know, they are high functionaries. They come from the banks. They come from the big companies owned by the state. You know, it's a very French thing to, you know, the state owns, for example, the big electric company, the big oil company, the big whatever company, and most of the politicians come from there. He comes from the media. And this is a very interesting sign of what is happening. What's happening is we are at the heart now of the cultural war. I know last time you received my colleague and master in a way, Michael Jones.
Yes.
Who owns a review, a magazine called Cultural Wars.
Cultural Wars, yes.
And we are at the very heart of that. In France, you know, French people don't read Italian authors because we think that we have authors enough, because the French philosophers, thinkers from left and right, they produce ideas and Italians make them through. So, but there is one exception, and this exception, of course, is Gramsci. We have grown in the right-wing current for the last 30 years in the idea that we had to make a Gramscism, a right-wing Gramscism. And actually, I think that Éric Zemmour, especially with his book, that he sold 500,000 books, was the sign of a very big metapolitical victory. And I've been discussing that with my comrades here in France. We disagree on that. I mean, most of them think that we must expand, multiply, make more diverse operations in culture wars. I think we are winning this war, not much because of our efforts, because I think the work was very insufficient given the situation. But still, because of the wall of reality of the left-wing world we live in, people start to wake up that it's not a world livable. And because of not because of the victories of the right-wing current, but because of the left-wing paradise turned to be a hell. And for just that reason, we are winning huge metapolitical victories. People are questioning their very ideology, the very core of their ideology, especially equality, egalitarianism, freedom without borders, no borderism in general.
And but that also come from, liberté, égalité, fraternité. No, it's the French Revolution, that motto. And I want to say also, it is quite a pity that, as you say, French people don't read the Italian, because indeed there is a lot of Italian stuff. I can say myself, I, of course, read a lot of Italian, but I read also a lot of French writers. I read a lot of Anglo-Saxon writers, because I think that everyone can contribute to the general fight. I mean, so that is quite important.
I look at this situation as a pity, but the French intellectual milieu is very much, as we say in France, provincialisé. He's from, he doesn't live in Rome. He lives, in Illyria, far away, like they put these poor Latin poet, Ovid, okay? They live in an Ovidian countryside, remote countryside, pueblo, So that's the point. The French people are marginalized in the intellectual fight, and they are focused on lost battles, on lost glories. And Zemmour, who made a lot for the victory of our ideas, still participate in this very wrong spirit, in my opinion, because he cultivates a very negative nostalgic, turn to the past idea. Feelings, and this is not the good attitude to conquer, especially to conquer in politics. It can be a very useful tone, inside landscape, to remember our defeats, our wounds, to heal, just to be loyal to our own history. But it is not a good attitude to conquer power.
But it seems that he has quite a following. So
Yes.
from where this following is coming?
Oh, it is coming from the fact that for very long he was very lonely right-wing anchor, right-wing journalist, and of course the channels, the media who employed him, who invited him, who gave him a platform, used him because he brought hundreds of thousands, millions of people to their news outlets, and because people were fed up to listen always the same fairy tale story from the left side. And of course, he had the momentum too. He had the momentum really 10 years ago. 10 years ago, everybody wanted him, everybody listened to him. And petit à petit, little by little, the left managed to have him fired from many outlets, from TV channels, and okay, blah, blah, blah. So he experienced, of course, as any right-wing author, what we lived in our universities, our high schools, our jobs, our lives. Outcast for ideas. And of course, millions of French are fed up. He, as we say in French, he speaks loud what everybody thinks low. Everybody thinks something and he speaks for them. He's the spokesperson for millions of French people. And now, and that's maybe the reason why he presented himself to the presidency of France, is that he realized, speaking especially, as he said, with one of his sons, that he could not stand forever the anchor position, the commentary position. He had to go from understanding to doing something.
So to go a little talking about the right wing in France, I want to ask you to say something about the kind of family saga that is in France, so the Le Pen family, where it seems a material for a Netflix series. So the father that is against the daughter that is denying the father, and then also now the nephew that it seems against the aunt. So it's very complicated.
It's Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, exactly. So how your audience live this kind of situation, because I assume that some of your audience identify with them, or I'm mistaken.
Of course, they do identify with them, but how to explain that? You have like kind of two publics. You have two audiences. The first audience is the very involved, very informed, very worried, very active on the social media. There are few, of course, very few people of that kind, and these people know for a long time now that the Rassemblement National, ex-Front National, and the family Le Pen are just dynasty. The old 80s series. It's more like, now it turns more like Game of Thrones, of course, but it was. They know it's. We say here there was a kind of a slip to a Monaco monarchy kind of drama, and people here, this kind of audience, who is very informed, very involved, look at them with a lot of despise, because they have been very disappointing for millions of people. I mean, many people have lost their wives or their husbands. They have lost their jobs, sometimes their homes, sometimes their friends, sometimes just, good relations with their family, with their neighbors, whatever. Many people have lost a lot to them. And now they look at 40 more years of politics with the Rassemblement National, and they feel just, sorry. It's a big sorry for everybody. And that's why also Eric Zemmour has such a success, because of course people are fed up with the drama, also the political drama this time, with the fact that Marine Le Pen cannot win. She cannot win because she will always stop, to the glass ceiling, as we say. There is a kind of a glass ceiling that she cannot break, and she will never. I mean, she's the insurance policy of any oligarch who wants to be elected. And I've been working for them very short time. I work for them following a candidate here in France for the region around Paris. So I saw the organization from inside, and it was, as I told you, Monaco drama kind. So no, people are. And the second kind of audience who follows Marine Le Pen, they are low. I mean, no despise in my words, but low class citizen, very working class, not very informed, not very involved. They make politics 5 minutes a year, just when they go and vote. And these people are kind of captive in the Rassemblement National vote, because once you've done it, you keep it. There is a very high fidelity, very high loyalty from this electorate to their candidates. So Marine Le Pen can count on this, on the working class electors, because it is not a party of activists or youth, of organizations, of even actions. I mean, go late at night, stick Dazibao or leaflets, whatever. They don't do that anymore for 10 years now. So now it's just a party of electorate.
Sorry.
Zemmour is a candidate, but still the youth, the hope, and I regret it for my reasons, because for many reasons I don't support Eric Zemmour. I support him as a metapolitical actor, not as a political actor.
Okay. Before we go on, I want to remind our viewer that we are broadcasting on YouTube channel Ritorno a Itaca. So please subscribe our channel. You can follow also our programs on my Twitter account and on my Facebook fan page. If you want to be updated about my books, articles, new videos, and events, please go on Telegram and look for Aurelio Porfiri channel, and you will be updated about mostly everything I'm doing. So I want to continue speaking about the media, and I want to ask you, what would be your suggestion for people that have this kind of alternative thinking and that want to thrive in the media? So what is the best strategy?
I think media must be some kind of edgy. It must be a little bit cringe and edgy to attract people. To attract people, if you just keep into something very mainstream, very professional, well, you could attract people just by professionalism. That's maybe the first point I would underline, is that using professional skills, for lights, makeup, all the video stuff. And the second would be to be a little bit cringe, yes, a little bit edgy.
But this is something that I think we want to discuss a little further, because I see that sometimes there are people. The other day I was looking a documentary on YouTube about American, we say they call it alt-right, not that do all these programs. But I have to say, it's true also that, of course, they made the documentary to make all of this look very bad. This, okay, we know. But it's also true that there are some of these people that are really extremist. I mean, that really go too much. I mean, it's you know, that kind of the kind of not very smart presentation of your ideas. I mean, like condemning the whole universe. I don't think it's bringing anything to us. So don't you feel that the yes, that the right sometimes is penalized by some people that go beyond what is you know, what is, because before you mentioned some people, for example, you mentioned Alain de Benoit, no? So Alain de Benoit is an intellectual and of course has very strong ideas, and some of his ideas I really disagree, but he presents ideas in a way that cannot be defined an extremist. I mean, he's someone that has very strong position, and then you like or not like. But some people really are not like him. I mean, they are very loud, and so don't you think that this is not helping?
Yes, of course, there are many flaws that we must we must take care not to fall into. As you said, not go too far. Don't shout too loud on everybody. Don't despise the whole universe. I mean, that's very right wing bullshit. Like me and the rest of the world. That's a wrong attitude. I think we must show love. We must show warm feelings. We must show what we like, what we love, what we fight for must be lovable. But I think that this quarrel about optics in the American alt-right is very wrong. I think especially right now to an individual who has been making very good these last years. It's a guy who was in the following of E. Michael Jones. What's his name? Eric. He has a Latin name. Now, what's his name? I don't have it right now. He was in the he launched the Groypers, But while this guy speaks all the time about optics, I would prefer to talk about themes that are attractive, not that much optics. I mean, you could make look bad anybody, any subject, any topic, and if we don't take care, very soon, just being a white straight male will be outlawed. So we must also stand our ground. We must stand for what we stand for. Don't make very complex strategies. Just say what we say, but say it in the right way. Just say why you love something instead of saying just why you don't like something else. And
so, but I want to make you an example
Yes.
that I'm sure you know very well. For example, a few years ago, now I don't see him as much, but a few years ago he was very popular. Alex Jones,
Yes.
the American, and he was so loud, and also the kind of very aggressive way of doing things, and also something that also now is very popular. A lot of this, how to say, the people that thinks that there is some kind of conspiracy everywhere. So I mean, I don't deny that, of course. There are things that we don't see and that probably run many things. I mean, this is probably undeniable, but the things to see conspiracies everywhere, don't you think that is something that is not making any good? I mean, to also to the good fight.
Of course. I mean, you could have this kind of content. I mean, we must also make like the left, specialize. Do you think that all the Italian left think that feminist blue colored hair, feminist, unicorns, as we call them here in France? Do you think really that all the left in Italy likes your feminist unicorns? Of course not. They let them, in their corner, a fight, it's like a front line. Everybody has his portion of the front line. Leave the conspiracies do their job if they have to. I mean, there are a few conspiracies we have to talk about. I mean, is it important or not that Kennedy was killed by, a lone gunman, or maybe there was a political agenda behind, maybe some nuclear agenda? That could be useful to let them do the job, and just no right punch. That would be a message, I would say.
But you see, if all these things that you mentioned, we talk, for example, the 9/11, for example. Now, of course, there are many alternative theories about the 9/11, what happened. Okay, if these theories are presented, I mean, with the reliable proof and sources, okay, we can listen, we can discuss. But when it's only conspiracy for the sake of conspiracy, I think it's not making any good also to what I mean we want to fight, because there are people that think that everything is a conspiracy, and that's not making any good.
Of course, you have lunatics everywhere, but we should make them at good use. For example, as long as they've created this conspiratorial mythology about everything, we should use these cultural codes to encode in our contents. I don't know what the word in English or in comics. Make comics about using these conspirational cultural codes of memes, of shit posting. We should use that.
Make fun,
but no right punch. We can also make fun of the loonies we have on our side. We can make fun of them, and especially we can discuss not on the ground of arguments or whatever. I mean, just agree to disagree. Just agree. You take your job there, do your loony stuff, and leave us the serious job. I think no right punch is a good going forward kind of march, because what happens is that the left is very eager to put pressure on us every single time they ask us, do you condemn those violence? Do you condemn those phrases? Do you condemn this
of course
N-word? I mean, live and let live. If someone uses the N-word, so be it. It's inelegant. It could be even as we say in French, une faute de goût. A slur is never very elegant, but it's not a crime. So let's not the left criminalize our thoughts, our words, and our loonies. It's our loonies. We keep them.
But I think what you say is interesting, because I think that in one side there is no reason to use any offensive word against anyone, because that's no reason. In the other side, it's true that what you say, that we see also this in Italy, that there is this kind of a technique of making people ashamed of everything. That is a technique to make you. We have also some of our episode, especially the one in Italian, we are speaking about the decline of the masculinity. We have spoken about this quite a lot, and we have several programs on this topic, because I think it's a very important topic. I want to return a little on something you said before, because you told me that you in your activities you also give a lot of training, like summer school and stuff like this, and you say we provide for these young people for their formation, and also for their, you say also for their spiritual well-being. Okay, so I want to understand, because you say you told me you are a Christian, no?
Yes.
So a Christian, I think you mean Catholic also, no? You mean a Catholic? Okay. So I want to understand on this kind of formation, there is also a Catholic element. So what my meaning is, how much the Catholic element is alive in this right-wing movement?
Well, first of all, if you allow me just to make a connection in between the two subjects we were just talking about, a way to be a little bit edgy, to attract attention, is to speak of things. I mean, I don't know the climate in Italy. I know a little bit, but I'm not very familiar as I am for the French climate. In France, talk about religion publicly is very cringe. So, to attract attention, it could be just, to put, as we say in French, les pieds dans le plat, to put the foot in the plate. It means to talk of the things that nobody wants to talk about, but that are, harmless, like religion, for example. So
I just want to add to what you say, that of course you can understand that here we have the Pope, so it would be even impossible not to talk about religion publicly, because of course the Pope, everything he say go on newspapers, and so it's very difficult. But I understand that you in France, you have a very kind of difficult situation, because yes, religion is also ostracized. So
yes.
so sorry, you can continue.
Yes, sure. So as it is a subject of utmost importance, I'm not talking about religion right now. I'm talking about spirituality. Whatever, we know that we are spiritual beings, so our militants need a spiritual backbone. The Catholicism is the true faith. So we, in these universities, this academia, we make the summers, and all long year we make sessions. In some towns in France, especially in Paris, you have a conference every week. So that's a message to the Italian youth, if they are wondering how we can make the job. Very simple. Every Friday night, instead of just drinking beer, drink a beer and talk politics. And so we do that, and we give a fraction of the time to the spiritual formation of our guys and ladies. I mean by that, presence of priests, confession, marches, pilgrimage, the mass, of course, the divine mass, all together, and that's communion. If we need a mystic, we need mysticism to win in politics. We need backbone, and spiritual backbone, because we are spiritual beings. So that's the way it fits into our academia. Now, we make very clear not to mix religion and politics. The God, the true God Almighty, is the God of all men. Our countries are our countries, and we cannot, as the Pope makes every day, make a conclusion that the God of everybody gave the earth to everybody. That's not true. He gave to each people, he gave a land. So we are curator of this land. So we have, and that was the teaching, the eternal teaching of the church, actually. You had to, it was the civic duties were virtues. You had to protect your land, so you had the right to kill in such activity. You had the right to kill the foes, the enemies of your land. So, but this theology has been, of course, put upside down. Now, as God is the God of everybody, my land is for everybody. That's the conclusion some progressive Catholics take from this new theology. But it's false, of course. God himself, in the person of his son, Jesus, cried on Jerusalem, it was his country, it was his fatherland, and he loved it more than any other land. And that's what God teaches us also. It's to love and protect our land as our rightful heir.
And I want to understand also when you talk about this, you have these meetings, not there are priests or so. These are traditionalist priests, if
Yes.
I can understand. Okay,
Yes.
and they belong to like the Fraternity of San Pius X, or they are
Yes.
yes,
They belong to the organization Ecclesia Dei.
Ecclesia Dei.
And it's Fraternité Saint-Pierre, the Petrus
Ah,
fraternity.
the Saint Pierre. Ah, okay. The Saint
But of
Peter.
course,
Yeah.
it's a very, I know that there is traditionalists all around the world, but it's a very French kind of thing. I mean,
Yeah.
traditionalism is very strong in France
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's a
Of
very
course.
French theme, a very French. I mean, and you had to, I mean, this cause needed the French because the French are some kind of how could I? There is some Gallicanism, you know. When the Pope says something, the French always has a second thought.
Yeah. 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 And then also we have to consider that, of course, some of the most famous figure in the traditionalist world come from your country. You know, Marcel Lefebvre,
Yes,
L'Abbé de Nantes, Michel
yes,
de Saint-Pierre, and of course I can Jean-Marie Rand. I mean, there are many that, of course, come from France. So I want to ask you again about the media, and I want to from you a suggestion for you today. What is the best media to have your ideas spread more, like for example, what kind of social network or like YouTube or Facebook, Twitter? What is for you the best? TikTok? I don't know. What is?
Oh, I think nowadays, because of the censorship, especially, I think we should be crowding TikTok. We should be going massively into Instagram. We should go into, even, as you made it yourself, professional networking. I mean, we could go anywhere, but the spear point, the must be a very, how, I don't know, I don't have the words in English, so I will say it in French.
Okay.
Un rire souverain. We should have a sovereign laugh about their world. Maybe, as said a French philosopher and activist, we will not change the world, but the world won't change us. I prefer to lose on my ideas. Better than make like the right wing made here in France for half a century and more, to win on the ideas of the others. I mean, it doesn't matter. What I would like to say also, it doesn't matter if we don't win in a short period of time. What we must remember is that empires last long. We must. This fight is a very long run. We must ménager notre monture. We must spare our horses. Go the good speed, the good pace. Excuse me. So we should first make love of them, because making love is the best thing we can make to them, and is the worst. I mean, it's the most damaging weapon we have is humor. Secondly, we should organize in the sense of, for example, if you have 4 small outlets, better just make one. And we could also a little bit more, like you do, and I want to thank you for that, internationalize the fight. I mean, as and in that concern, of course, Telegram is the promised land. Even if they started to censor, there is censorship in Telegram. When I joined Telegram a month ago, it was really the promised land. I mean, it was the Far West. You saw anything, and it was great. Course. It was great because it was the beginning of the internet. But of course, there is still room on Telegram to make things, and especially to share old content, old media, old documentaries, old interviews, because there is plenty of old media, I mean, interviews, documentaries, and so on, that are not known anymore, that people saw, and that are very high quality. I think that there is really a special job for some guys who would like to do that job, to exhume, to dig in the dirt the old stuff and put it anew. Because what I see is that people, I mean, it's a very generational stuff, this network media. It's very zoomer, and they ignore most of the things I've done, because very simple, we have 20 years apart, and so the work we've done is already forgotten, and it's very natural. So there is no pity of that, but we should repeat and make as the right, what the right makes the better. It's make new things with old.
Yes, and it's true what you say, that today this kind of media landscape is always changing so fast that it's very difficult to keep trace of whatever happened. And but I see that in any case there is people that is still interested to know more, and especially when they listen to people that, like I try to do, talk reasoning about things, not just shouting and accusing this and that. No, that I never do this, and I really don't like it personally. But I think that at the end, what has to win are not people but ideas, because we are not promoting ourselves. I mean, I would not be the best person to promote myself. I think I think I have many flaws myself, but I just put forward the ideas. And then, of course, so you don't have to like me, but you have to think about what I say. And then, of course, you decide if what I say is reasonable. So this is why I try to do a lot of networking also with people outside my country, because I think is very important. And I have so many guests that can speak English, because I am glad. I would like to have more guests also from your country. The problem is that some of your compatriots don't speak English, and I can speak French, but not like English. It's I will have much more problems to
Yes,
interact in French.
Frenchmen, we are very, very bad at languages. And
Yeah.
of course, they hide that behind the pride. We don't speak English here.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it was a
But
question of pride.
the problem
Actually,
is
it's not about that. It's about the
so
fact that they are not
I
about.
really love your country, your language, and as I say, I read basically every day books in French, but because I am used to speak in English, so I cannot speak French so fluently as I speak in English. So that's the reason. But I really would like to have more French that can also interact with me, because I think, as you say, France, in any case, has a very strong tradition in this traditionalist, sorry to repeat, word, in this identitarian word. So I think it's very important. But in any case, in the meantime, I want to thank you for your thoughts and for what you share with us. And I think it was very meaningful. And I hope maybe in the future to have you again in my programs, and it will be my pleasure.
I will try to find you a few French who speak
Oh,
English
okay,
properly.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you very
That
much, Aurelio, for invitation. Thank you for this dialogue. Very, very, very nice, very gentle, as you are always, you Italians.
Thank
Are
you
very
very
broader
much.
nation.
Thank you. So I thank our viewer, and I remind every one of you that Now we have 3 weekly program. On Thursday we have usually at 6 p.m. Italian time, we have a program in Italian that usually is a panel between many guests. Then on Friday we have one program in English. There's also another panel, and we speak about many topics. I remind you that we have program on, of course, on many Catholic issues, but also we talk about UFOs, or we talk about topics that are more controversial. We also will have a program in Italian, but in January, about Squid Game. So we talk about the importance of this kind of series. And on Sunday, we have this program that you are looking at Astra, where I meet with one guest one-on-one, and we deal with several topics of interest. So I thank you, all of you, and I hope to see you again in our channel. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.